Hey you guys, Dr. Norris Goldberg here, and are you wondering about radiation safety for yourself or maybe even your children? Because that's been a hot topic recently, and I've got a lot of facts and information I want to share with you. So it happens to be back to school week this week in the area, and that means it's back to school month here at Koru Chiropractic. And what I'm offering this year for back to school is a special promotion for a cervical curve check. Okay, so what that means is we do a simple x-ray of the side of the curve of your spine, specifically the neck, and we're able to look at the health of your neck. Do you have the proper curvature? Do you have forward head posture? And are there any signs of spinal decay, arthritis, or degeneration? Okay, and so this is something, usually the arthritis part, that you wouldn't see later in life, but unfortunately these are the problems that start earlier in life. In fact, for most people, from what I can see in my practice, a lot of these injuries and postural shifts, these lifestyle and habitual changes that happen over time actually happen in your childhood, adolescence, and maybe even early adulthood. And then it's when they come in when they're 30, 40, or 50 that they've got all these major chronic problems that quite honestly may never get better, right? But from what I've seen in my practice is that if we treat these children and take care of them as healthy, young, healing adults and children, or children into adults, that their spines can get back to being healthiest again, essentially, or maintain health and not get into these inappropriate or abnormal positions and alignment that are going to cause spinal decay, arthritis, and disc degeneration long term. Okay, so that's what the cervical curve check for 2024 is, and if you're interested in doing that, we're going to run that all the way through September, and you can call in and ask about again, just mention cervical curve 2024. But really for today, what I wanted to talk about was radiation safety, right? So why would we even x-ray a kid when you can just tell your kid has poor posture? Well, that's true. That's not hard to see if they have poor posture. But what we're really looking for is specifically where in the spine things are not moving, because that's typically what I find to be the problem is they're not able to stand up and just stay straight because they're subluxated, they're misaligned in a part of their spine, and that's typically one or two or three little areas of their spine that need adjustments, not the whole spine. We don't need to crack their spine from head to toe. In fact, many of the adjustments are very gentle and very specific. Oftentimes I'm only adjusting one or two bones at a time when you come into the office, right? And so what I find with kids, especially like teenagers, they've got this forward head posture, and then when they move their spine, it's like really stuck in either the middle of their neck or their upper back, right? And so that's what the x-rays allow me to evaluate, is not just their posture and overall what we call intrasegmental alignment, but also the intrasegmental motion, which is really me correcting a subluxation. If I can get that moving again, not only are they going to have better posture, they're going to have overall better neurological function, okay? Last thing I want to talk about is what actual dose of radiation you're even getting when you get these x-rays, right? So a lot of people think when they come in, they're going to turn green, or they're taking on a really harmful dose. And that might have been true 100 years ago when x-ray was brand new technology, but we've had some pretty amazing advancements, including a digital x-ray panel here. So this is a Bluetooth panel. It shoots the x-ray, catches it digitally, and then Wi-Fi's it back to my computer. This allows us to shoot really a drop in the bucket in terms of the amount of radiation that you would get. And in fact, just living at altitude alone is 10 times the amount of radiation you would get in a single year that I do when I do all the x-rays I could possibly do. Like every x-ray I can imagine for the most complicated case would still only be essentially a 20th of what you get when you live at altitude here in the valley or front range area, right? The second thing is a lot of us have gone to the hospital and in an emergency and needed like a CT scan of your abdomen or your chest or another body part. Well, a CT scan is 20 times the amount of radiation compared to living at altitude, right? And so a lot of people are just genuinely misinformed. They don't know where they're getting radiation from and or what types of radiation are harmful, because there's more than one type as well. So with x-ray radiation, what we know with a very small dose or a couple x-rays here and there, that it's actually not going to cause any mutations of your genes. It's not going to cause any negative effects in your body. It's very different than what we think of when we think about nuclear radiation or gamma radiation, which comes from the sun. okay? So that's just a little information on this topic. I hope you found it informative. It's controversial. In some provinces in Canada, they're actually banning x-rays on children, right? But to me, that just doesn't feel right, because again, there's an actual clinical value to us getting these x-rays and better understanding how to realign the spine in a more effective, gentle, and ultimately conservative way. It's how I adjust people less often, is being more specific with my adjustments. So by no means, when a child comes into the office, do I hesitate to x-ray them. I don't necessarily need to x-ray every single child, but a lot of children, especially at a certain point in time when they're about 8, 9, 10 years old, they've sort of acquired enough of these postural shifts and traumas and problems in their body that it's worth going in there and x-raying it and seeing exactly what the problem is, and quite honestly fixing it just like I would with an adult. But luckily it usually fixes a lot easier, and it's a quicker and simpler solution than when, again, you wait until it's really broken 30 or 40 years later. All right, guys, so hopefully you found that video informative. Again, I'm Dr. Norris Goldberg. Do that thing, like, subscribe, follow us, comment. We love engagement, and we'd love to answer any questions that you have. And if you're interested in that cervical curve check, again, it's just valid through September 2024. Give us a ring or email us and mention cervical curve 2024.